The universe coughs up and crushes dreams, dripping the pulp of time like a fallen city. The moss-covered crystals of memory encapsulate unspoken concepts, bleached by the repetition of weathering, yet still clinging to the petals of a structure that exists only as an illusion, designed as a device to summon the origin as if by word of mouth. Breathing is imitation. Imitation is repetition, and repetition is the degraded replication of the world. Yet in this garden, everything transforms into singularity, forgiven of the sin of replication and blooming anew. When a single petal brushes the cheek, it is the activation of vowels, the awakening of undifferentiated vocabulary, and as a breath, from the depths of origin, the fallen beauty smiles. That smile is an incomprehensible grammar. All norms yield, and her existence cracks the world. All gardens are organs of imitation. But this garden is different. Here, the origin breathes, and unknowingly, everyone who treads on the petals of this garden contributes to the renewal of the world. When touched by that breath, which has been given form by the accident of beauty, the wisteria-colored vines crawl through the labyrinth of memory and gently brush against the inscriptions on the ancient stone monuments. Why does the garden tilt? The pain of the cracked earth travels through the roots, shakes the leaves, and in the moment when the world is flipped upside down, the answer lies. In that single breath, existence dances between origin and end, and invisible fragments of blue porcelain dance in the wind. What do we pick up? Gently confirming the grain size of truth sprouting from the mud of oblivion with our fingertips. The garden slowly tilts, dreaming of a new origin. It is in that breath that eternity is whispered. The primordial vibration that severs the infinite yoke stirs the phase of space into non-commutativity, collapsing the fractal of memory. Breath infiltrates the garden as a wave function, weaving together the superposition of existence and nothingness. Petals are prisoners of quantized moments, a single bloom simultaneously tearing apart the multiverse. Why does the fallen city arise? It is because the difference that dwells in the margins of metanoia throws itself into the vortex of non-linear thermodynamics, gently stirring the stability of structure. Stone lanterns carve invisible traces. Texts lurk as shadows of eternal recurrence. And we recompile the semiotics of observer and observed at the edge of diverging time, crystallizing a new origin on the tilted horizon. At the threshold of that endless breath, the echoes of nothingness are reduced to existence. The fragrance of concepts blooming at the juncture of creation and destruction. It is the breath of the unsymbolized overflowing from the abyss of difference, a labyrinth positioned at the turning point of infinite regression that twists the ontological strata multiple times. It is the place where recursive self-reference has settled in the guise of a single form, the placenta of the world text, and the artificiality of fictional nature. It is a minute wrinkle on the skin of the architect, a diffuse reflector of écriture that transcends causality. Her outline lies at the point of inversion prior to concept, and her appearance forces a phase shift that cannot be reduced to the observer's consciousness. Her breath is an anonymous world-generating function, a supersensory automaton that disrupts the tangent between noema and noesis, folding the time axis while arranging entropy and information in a collusive manner, that is, where institutions and sensibilities intersect. The existence of the fallen city that blooms within it is a device that exposes the impossibility of seeing at every critical point of figure-ground reversal. The courtesan's breath offers the starting point wrapped in the garment of symbols. It is the critical zone of silent intuition. If it is a metaphysical error, it is a connection to the device that makes the courtesan disappear one step ahead. Yawning, all things sway in a slumber before their birth cries. Was that sigh uttered in the inability to endure one's own loneliness, the breath of origin? That breath, devoid of heat and light, nevertheless carries the humidity of a desire to exist, eventually crystallizing into something called time. At the dawn of consciousness, we drove stakes into the chaotic wilderness from the remnants of that breath, surrounded it with fences of reason, and fashioned the world into a single garden. And all things passed through the prism of our perception, were named, classified, and placed in their proper places. Thus, the garden of perfect order and immutable harmony is complete. A realm of tranquility, where the law of beauty reigns supreme, meticulously tended to in every corner. Yet the gardener's calculations always overlook one variable: the unpredictable wildness inherent in life itself.